In this video, we're gonna dive deeper into the profit analysis tool from FeedbackWhiz. This is part 2 of a video that we already shot previously. If you didn't see the video all about FeedbackWhiz and how FeedbackWhiz can help you get more reviews, I'll link it in the description box below and I'll leave it up here in the cards. This is part 2. Get ready to learn how FeedbackWhiz can also help you analyze your profits and probably make you sell even more on Amazon. Let's get started. So Henson, this is part 2 of the video we already shot together. And I hope, people are interested to know a little bit more about the profit. Should I call it a profit analysis feature, or what should I call it for FeedbackWhiz?
Right now it's in beta, and our vision is we're calling this a profit and accounting tool. So we want to help sellers really dial down on all the details of, their spend, right? Their expenses, their cost of goods, all the different fees from Amazon they're getting charged with, right? Putting indirect costs, direct costs, all that stuff, right? Because running a business, you need to know all these numbers, right? And a lot of the issue with Amazon is that you don't really know like these fees that you're getting incurred, right? They just kind of stop you with some fees, and it kind of based on your product, where you're storing it. There's a lot of variables, right? And if you really want to be successful on Amazon, you want to be profitable, you have to get your accounting and your numbers straight, right? Meaning that the products you're bringing in, you got to make sure you know exactly what your margins are, right? How much, all the little indirect costs, right? Running your business, rent, insurance, lawyer fee, all that stuff. Like you have to calculate that and put it part of, your business expenses, right? And with the Amazon fees too, like, long-term storage fees, inventory performance, right? Like there's a lot of little things that you can save money on in the long term, right? And but if you don't know what you're getting charged for or where these costs are coming from, then it's hard for you to identify these problems. And as you keep growing and growing, like, you might be launching more products, but let's say I identify some of these costs or fees that I can save on, then man, I can increase my margins by 5-10% right away, Exactly. So that's where software helps, because, it helps you break everything down. It helps you collect all the data. It helps you organize all the data. And it's supposed to allow you to sort through all the data with ease, right? And for us, it's like, okay, we saw this opportunity here because we're like, everyone needs to have data. Everyone needs to manage it. However, it's not easy to sort through this data or manage it, especially with Seller Central. You can either see all your data for one marketplace, or you can only see some data for just the ASINs, right? But what if I want to see like, my combined data for all 5 of my European marketplaces? Or I don't know, like, I'm not familiar with British pounds or euros. I'm an American seller. I want to see in US dollars. Like, can I convert everything to US dollars, right? Or I'm a Japanese seller. I want to see in yen, right? Or I have products where I sell different categories. I want to know how my toy products are performing. I want to know what my kitchen products are doing, right? It's really hard to get all this data unless you export everything, put it in a spreadsheet, and then do all that math and calculation yourself. And most sellers, they don't have the time. They don't know how to do it. So I think with us, our vision was, all right, let's create a tool where we can first get all this data, right? Accurately display it to you guys, and then help you guys manage this information and help you digest it, set alerts, right? When things happen, give you graphs and trends to help you, identify, well, why is my, revenue going down, like for this product, what happened, right? So yeah, so that's kind of the vision here. We have these listing alerts, we have product review alerts. So we're monitoring all these different things that happen to your listing, like image changes, BSR changes, right? And because we collect this data, we can use this data to help you visualize how does it affect your revenue, how does it affect, your margins, right? And, most software don't have that ability to collect or display that, right? So our end goal is to pretty much unite all the data we have within FeedbackWhiz and help you guys visualize and display it in a better way.
It's true, because when Amazon sellers start, they quickly realize that Amazon Seller Central is basically a very basic dashboard. So if you want to figure out the information that you want to figure out, you have to, just like you said, download several information and several spreadsheets or several data and put them in one spreadsheet. And normally what happens, you either find a software or you just get an accountant or somebody who's good with numbers where they can create a bespoke, individualized spreadsheet for you, which isn't always, first off, if you're starting out and you have just 2 or 3 or 4 products, that's not always feasible for you to get somebody to do it for you at that level. So you end up either taking all of the time in the world in order to figure it out yourself, or just not doing it at all, which is not a good thing. So we did the first video together, which was all about FeedbackWhiz and reviews, and we decided to leave this new feature for this particular video. So if you guys didn't see the first video, I will definitely leave it linked in the description box below or up here somewhere in the card so you can check it out. So Henson, let's jump straight into it and let's just see this fantastic profit feature.
Keep in mind, we're still in beta, but we're very close. So most of the features that I talked about, we have. However, some of the other, there's a lot of ideas that we have right now that we're going to just continuously implement and roll these out in revision. So look out for this kind of stuff that we're getting out, and we'll always send updates to let you guys know what we're doing. So, so right now I'm just going to show you kind of a quick overview of the profits dashboard. So this is a profits tool. If you're a FeedbackWhiz user, you're not going to see this right now, but if you email us, we can enable it. Or if you go to the account settings, go to the account settings, there's a beta features page. If you just click on this, and we can enable it for you to use. Perfect. Yeah. So this dashboard, how this dashboard works is it gives you these different cards where you can set and say, hey, you know, I like to see today, yesterday, maybe the past 30 days. And you can set it this way. So you can always see these numbers like every time you come in, right? So we give you a breakdown of, you know, how many units you sold in this time frame, you know, all the fees, all the costs. So you have these numbers right in front of you, like a quick overview. This is for depending on which marketplace you want to do, right? So if you want to say, I'm selling in 10 different marketplaces, then I would just check all 10 marketplaces, and then we'll combine all that data for you, right? Or you just say, hey, I only care about US, right? Then you only look at the US. So whatever preference you want, you can set this up and then it sticks, right? So quick overview, it gives you a breakdown of these different things like revenue, profits, sold, orders, margins, you know, all the information that you pretty much need to see over time, right? So we're trying to give it in a very visual way where you can, you know, get all this information. One of the cool features I mentioned earlier was the custom grouping labels, right? So here we do by product labels. So basically what you can do is you can go into FeedbackWhiz on our product page, and our product page also has a profits view, which I'll go through. This is more in depth in terms of the actual ASIN view, right? So you can see exactly by ASIN, exactly all these different metrics. You can customize columns and say, hey, I don't care about some of these things. So you can set whatever you want to see. But you can basically group these products together and say, all right, well, I'm selling like these products here, and let's say these are electronics, right? So I can come in here and say label and call this electronics, or call this, I don't know, anything like Amazon, headphones, right? Or Amazon, headphones, okay. Right? Yeah, whatever, right? And then you save it, and basically, you know, this product is now tagged as that label. So when you come back to the profits dashboard, and you know, you say I have a bunch of different categories, I can come in and see exactly based on categories what those products that I tied together are doing, right? So it gives you a cool way to visualize by products or by your own labels, whatever you want to group together. Which I think is there's a lot of value here, since, you know, it's hard to get this information, right? We also have a top products here. So, by month, you can see exactly, well, which products are doing the best, right? We'll sort it for you. You could do it by best sellers or even the worst products, right? Which products I didn't get any sales on or had very small, no revenue, right? So you could group it by revenue, you can group it by, units sold. And then you can kind of see, well, what is the problem here? Is it because I'm getting a lot of refunds and am I getting a lot of fees, right? What it is. And then, we display all this information for you. So I think it's very useful to also see your best performing and worst performing products, because that gives you a lot of insight on what I need to do with these products, or why is this product doing so well, right? Like, let's figure out. So then comes the area where you can custom input your expenses and your cost of goods, right? So like I mentioned earlier, you might have business expenses, you might have shipping expenses, advertising expenses. You can come in here and you can enter these in. It's very simple. You can come in here and say, hey, is it a fixed one-time expense or is it a monthly recurring expense, right? And you can set your own start and stop dates. So sometimes the expenses might only be for 2 weeks or 1 week, whatever, right? You put this information there, we'll sort it for you, right? So you can even assign this expense to a certain ASIN if you like, right? And you can just call whatever expense.
For example, product photography for a certain ASIN. So you can add that,
You can add that, yeah. So photography photos, right? And then you can put an amount in there, right? And then you add it, and then in this view, we'll show it to you based on, you can break it down by month and see, okay, well, in February I had this expense, and then tell you the information, right? And then we also have a cost of goods manager. So this is the expenses tied to ASINs per unit, right? So like, let's say I had this webcam, I have all these different types of expenses like packaging, research development, item costs, right? So same theory, like you can come in here, add in the cost of goods, put in start and stop dates. The start and stop dates are very important because let's say your supplier raises the cost on you like last month, right? A lot of spreadsheets right now, like it's like you can only do it once, right? It's static. So you can only put it, you can only update it. Once you update it, it applies for the past and the future, right? But here, like you can say, well, in this time period, it cost 25 cents, but 3 weeks later, or 3 weeks ago, it cost, 15 cents, right? So this way, you're going to get exact numbers when you actually calculate your margins based on the time frame you want to see. So, you can search by different products, you can do it by different dates, and you can even expense it by labels as well, right? And all this data can also be exported into a spreadsheet of your own. One of the features that we haven't had yet is the ability to import your own data too. So if you have a spreadsheet or you're using a tool already that you have all this information, you want to give you guys the ability to upload it rather than come in here and add everything, because I know it could take a lot of time to do it for all your products.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our cost of goods manager. And then we have a bunch of reports that you can download as well. So we can break it down by category. You can see like units sold, numbers, revenue. So all this detail is within here, and there's these very nice graphing features where you can basically compare different types of metrics against each other, right? Through any time frame, whichever type of graph type you like. If you want a percentage difference, you can do that. You can compare it to the previous period, right? That you're comparing. So the graphing functionality is really nice here, that you can graph based on the time you're trying to do, the aggregate level, or you can go back to the product manager where you can see it by the ASIN level, right? So the ASIN level gives you a lot more detail of in here, like I can say in this time frame, like this product, how many reviews did I get? How many orders did I get? What is the actual profit within that time frame, right? These cards break down whatever you're searching for here. Right? So with these filters, I can say again, I can label it by electronics, and I only want to see electronic products, right? And it's gonna, or I want to see everything, right? So in this mode, I'm gonna see all my products within all these marketplaces, right? Or let's say I only want a US marketplaces, right? So you can really compare different labels between different marketplaces, different time frames, and pretty much pull any type of information you want, right? It's all here, and it just instantly appears. Again, you can put notes, right? So you can write yourself different comments on things, whatever way you want to organize, and put in labels itself, and then also seeing the trends or the graphs per that ASIN at that time frame as well.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to figure out why, you know, why a product isn't selling as much as it should. That's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just nice to have all these functionalities available. Of course, as a seller, it just depends on what you really care about, right? So, you know, I can't really speak for everyone's what their strategies are, but our goal here is we want to provide you all the data that you can possibly see, and then help you guys organize this data in a meaningful way, in an easy way, right? Not to say that other tools aren't great. I think what we're trying to do is try to fill in some of those deficiencies and try to make the experience a lot easier, because, you know, math is it's not, nobody really likes doing math. Nobody likes looking at numbers, but you have to do it, right? When you run a business, you have to do it, right? And we try to make it as easy as possible for you guys to figure these kind of things out. So yeah, that's kind of the overview of this tool. And like I said, it's there's a lot of new stuff we're going to add in here to just make it much better. You know.
Henson, are there any features of whether or not, for example, Amazon fees go up or go down for a particular product, where the system would alert you?
Yeah, so the business analytic alerts is coming. So yeah, that's a very good point. We are building that right now. So we're going to allow you guys to basically come in here and set different alerts and set your own thresholds. So you can come in here and say, hey, by the way, my fees went up by a certain percentage, or my refunds went up by a certain amount, right? I can set an alert for that product or overall, and then we'll send you an email. So it's kind of like what we have in our monitoring feature right now. So if you go to our monitoring, we monitor all these events that happen to your listing. So even with price, right, it'd be the same kind of theory where you can set a price alert and say, I want to email when the price hits above this price or below this price. So yeah, it is coming in a later revision. And like I mentioned, one of the most important things I really want to get in here ASAP is the business analytics side of what happens with all the stuff that we're tracking within this ASIN, right? Whether someone hijacked your listing or someone changed your item description, or let's say you changed the main image. Like, I want to come back in here and look at my graph, and I want to have a way to know that at this data point here, I had a listing alert saying that my image changed, or I changed it myself, and I want to know how it performed over time. Right? So we're going to integrate all this thing in here very soon. So you're going to have full visibility on all the events that happen, since no one tracks that, right? Amazon doesn't track it. You can't track it, right? But we can track it, and we can display it for you. So that's the goal here.
So Henson, a lot of people always ask, how do I set up FeedbackWhiz? I know it's probably, I know we've talked a lot about, you know, more complicated things, but just briefly, how is FeedbackWhiz set up? How does it read my Amazon data? And is there any privacy policy in place?
Yeah, absolutely. So for people that don't know FeedbackWhiz, we are an authorized third-party app within Amazon Seller Central App Store. So if you go inside our app store and if you look under feedback, reviews, profit, analytics, we're in there, right? To get into the app store, it's not easy, right? We have to go through a very, very difficult vetting process with Amazon. They have to go through our entire suite of tools, go through our backend, our security practices. They do audits for third-party companies. So to be a third-party provider for Amazon inside the App Store, it's we're basically qualified to take your data and to make sure that we protect your data. So there's a lot of privacy policy. We don't sell your information. Your information is pretty much for your eyes only, right? So there's a lot of things that we have to follow, a lot of practices. To set up FeedbackWhiz is very simple. The way it works is basically inside Seller Central, where you can just directly go to our app. There's a way you can connect to third-party apps. And when you connect to that, what happens is Amazon will send this basically like a MWS token to our app, and just to verify that, we're the app, and then to verify that that's your account. And then it's just a one-click process, and it will just communicate. And then once it communicates, then it will send all your different types of data that we might need for FeedbackWhiz. into our system, and we get that information, and then we display it and use that data to help you guys, whether it's send emails, to analyze profits, monitor feedback, things like that. In terms of the level of how much data we can access, by default, when you connect to any third-party app, Amazon will give like a basic set of what we can see and can't see. And then if certain apps, for example, let's say they need to run your PPC automatically, or they need to be able to change your inventory or change your pricing, then there's additional additional settings or permissions where the seller can enable for third-party apps to get that if required. So
okay, so there are checks in place. It's not like you're doing your own thing without Amazon's permission, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the beauty of using a authorized third-party app. It's like you don't have to worry too much about your data getting compromised or certain things happening. Now, if you're using like random Chrome extension apps that you're downloading online and they're not part of the Amazon store, like that could be a problem, right? Because that thing is literally running on your browser. It's seeing all your data, right? And there's a lot of security problems. So the connections that third-party apps communicate through the Amazon API is very secure, right? So it's not like anyone can come in and steal that information. So we do everything we can to help protect your account, having checks in place, passwords, and encryption and things like that. So
perfect. I do know that you do have a free, I'm not going to say a free trial, but rather a free account. So anybody who wants to try it out, they can. I will leave, your website is feedbackwhiz.com. It's very easy, and they can find you in the App Store for Amazon Seller Central. However, I will leave the full information in the description box. Anything else you like to say to Amazon UAE and KSA sellers? I know you're working on launching in KSA hopefully soon, hopefully before the end of the year, if you guys can make it there. So anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, I would say comment on this video if you want Saudi Arabia launched, because we can launch it very soon. It's just right now, there's a lot of priorities we're trying to do right now in terms of these other tools. And if it's something you guys really, really want and need, I'll do everything we can to get it out. It's not something it's going to take to the end of the year. We could do it relatively quickly. It's just if there's enough demand, we'll do it. But yeah, we currently do have for UAE. And depending on the type of seller you are, if for anyone that never tried FeedbackWhiz, we have a free 30-day trial. But for sellers that just started selling Amazon, we have a free plan as well. So you can send up to 150 emails or 150 review requests per month, which is probably like 5 orders a day. And that's good enough, if you just start selling and you don't have to pay anything. And we're just, my goal of creating this tool is I want to, make a living, but also, our goal is to help sellers. Like that's what I used to be, right? I wanted something that that helps my store, not just having a million tools, but they don't work that well, right? We only want to build meaningful things that actually work and actually can help perform. So, I wanted to help these newer sellers to grow because I know it's like, you can't, not everyone can afford like $100 a month or even $50 a month if you just started off. So it gives you a way to kind of, try these strategies out and see how it works. And, so yeah, that's our goal.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Henson.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on today.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment in the comment section below. I'll see you in another video with more information. Bye.